This is Lawrence D. Adams, and I'm back again, and I haven't uploaded a video like this in a long time. Today I want to talk about DMX, and let me be clear, I did not know DMX personally. I only know him through his music, through interviews, and shows that he was on. But yet, on some ways, I identified with him and understood him. Only being a year or two older than me, he comes from my era of men. So, for me to even talk about this is something out of the norm that I normally wouldn't do. So I grappled with even making this video. But I think it's a lesson to learn from DMX's life. That every man should face and should see in their own self. Here was a man who had a childhood that was crazy, that was off the chains, and things happened that no child should have experienced or even dealt with. And he had no time to process those things, but yet, in the midst of having this troubled childhood, there was a gift inside of him. There was a gift sitting inside of him, waiting to be seen by all. Now, the gift in him had to be cultivated and polished up. But yet there was a gift inside of him. But there comes a dichotomy that exists right now. Here is a man who is gifted and who is a gifted lyricist, battle rapper, passionate, but yet his childhood trauma and his own addictions still haunted him. And I think we as men have to come to grips, which he did, as Swiss Beats has stated in a couple interviews. He would go to jail on purpose so that he can get away and be in solitude, to tap into the gift, but to find a sense of peace. And I think a lot of times we as men have not came into realization or even tapped into the power of embracing our dark side, or that part of us that we cannot control, that's out of control, that's seemingly to the world you shouldn't be having or dealing with. We all have that part of us if we're honest with ourselves, which DMX happened to be honest about the things that he struggled with. So here you got the gift. He had the gift. Then he had the dark side. But there was another side that I think that highlighted, or even that was even more greater, was his ability to tap into his spirituality. One thing you cannot take away from DMX is his ability to pray and realize that the real source of what he does didn't come from him, but it came from God. And I think a lot of times we have not merged the three things, our gift, our troubles or our struggles, and our ability to bridge them all together with the spirituality. So as I watched prior to him passing away, I was digging deep into interviews and people talking about it, talking about DMX and talking about his struggles and his kids and everything that was going on. I had to look and say, there's some part of me that's like DMX. There's some parts of me that he's braver than I will ever be to embrace those parts of myself, or for you to even embrace parts of yourself and to be public with it. It takes a real man to say, hey, I don't got it all together, and I'm okay with that. The other part that we don't talk about with DMX is his undying love for humanity. From what I've seen from documentaries and him, when people are talking about him, he would have 30 million in the bank, but go sit down with the homeless people and eat with them. Or another thing, he was at a Waffle House and he started mopping the floor. So he was so in touch with his humanity, even though he was spiritual, even though he had the thorn in his flesh. He was a living example and the gift. But he was a living example of the multifaceted parts of a man. And it's crazy because it's easy to judge a man like that. But it's dangerous because when you judge a man like that, you inadvertently judge yourself. Did I cry? Yeah, I cried because that music is from my era, what I know. It was dipped. If I was to say it, it was baptized in raw masculinity. Let me say that again. It was baptized in raw masculinity. There was no doubting from the lyrics to the voice to the energy that this was unbridled masculinity. With even in the unbridledness of the masculinity, it showed the frailty, or show how fragile even a man in masculinity like that still had weaknesses and things he had to overcome. So who am I to judge him? Who am I to say anything bad about him? If anything we need to do, and this is just real talk, we need to learn to tap into our gift. We need to learn to embrace our struggles. We need to learn to tap into our spirituality. And most of all, we must never forget humanity. This is Lawrence D. Adams, and I'm out.